Yeah, I'll probably save all of this and just save it to a bloopers reel.
Ah, yay.
Dude, you're back. I can see you.
Yes. And beards are not, not required. It's just really a symbol of your wisdom. So
I didn't shave today, so there's at least some
that's right.
stubble.
Yeah.
All right. That's good.
Jim Supinski did the same thing. He generated a little stubble for us because
right.
of the graybeards motif.
Yeah, what are you drinking today, Rick?
Not much. This is a weird thing. Speaking of drinking, I had COVID back in 21, and I can't drink alcohol anymore.
What?
Yeah, it's
Dude.
It's really bizarre, but I mean, it's kind of not a bad thing, I guess. But yeah, I can have like a little bit. If I have a couple ounces of a beer, that's fine. But if I drank a 8-ounce beer, by the time I finish it, I already have a headache.
Dude.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah, it's kind of bad. Because as you know, I'm a big fan of craft beers. And
it wasn't in your bio, but I do remember that from when we met years ago.
Yeah.
Well, at least you weren't bit by the tick that makes you allergic to beef.
Yeah, that would be a step very much worse.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, when that picture of me that I sent you guys, that's several years old. And yeah, I was sporting the beard then. And I remember I was at a gig, a thing with a friend of mine, and we were sitting back pulling on some stogies and having some good beers and having a good time. So that was probably about the last time I had a full beard like that. I got stubble now and then, but I just don't think I look good in a beard.
You look better with a beard.
Yeah.
I might edit that out.
Yeah, please do. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I just I guess, after 12 years in the military and shaving all the time, I'm just used to it, and I kind of like the clean feel. So
I was in the Navy. We were allowed to have beards in the Navy.
Yeah. Well, up until what? They
did get rid of it, and they were getting rid of it as I was in. So it was in the 80s.
Yeah.
Because I remember our division officer, who was a lieutenant commander, and I can't remember his name to save my life, had a beard. And then that regulation came out and he had to shave his beard and then shave every day. And he hated life.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I get it. If it's the same thing for me. I don't necessarily shave every day anyway, but I just, if it gets much longer than, well, I can go a few more days, it'd be okay. But after a while, it starts to bug me. It's just like, oh, you got to get rid of this stuff. Even my hair, it's getting long now. I want to get a haircut. I feel like a hippie right now. So,
well, I'll give you an example of how serious I take graybeards. Before the graybeards, I changed out of my pajamas. I trimmed my beard, brushed my teeth, and put on deodorant. So. So I have no idea why I did that, but I did.
Yeah, you got to do something, I guess, some semblance of social etiquette,
with me, I have not been into an office outside of having to go to Saudi Arabia for a contract since November of 2020.
Yeah.
So my routine in the morning is I get up and I hit the button on the coffee machine, walk into the spare bathroom because I leave a toothbrush and toothpaste in there, brush my teeth, and when I come out, I grab myself a cup, go to my big comfortable chair and say, oh crap, another day starting.
Yeah. I've been starting work at like 7 a.m. now because it's just, I'd rather get out earlier in the afternoon. And that it works out pretty good. I mean, I'll occasionally have later meetings in the day because because of course most of the guys I work with and gals are on the West Coast, because Oracle's based out there, so
Mhm.
a lot of the folks are out there, and so we end up doing that. But then again, today I had a meeting with a bunch of guys from South Africa, so they wanted to meet as early as possible because it was
Mhm.
late afternoon for them in the morning for me. So
Yeah.
it's all over the place. And then I met with some other people from France, so it's, you never
From
know.
France, eh?
France, yes. Very nice. Yes,
Very nice people. Very nice. They talk funny though. Roger, splash screen.
Flash screen. Oh, yes. Okay. Let me unshare. Hey, Rick, you started with Oracle. Well, you were with Oracle years ago, and then you did other things, which was very important. And then came back. What was that like over your 35 years? Have you seen technology?
Don't say that so loud. Yeah. Actually, it's more than that now, but yeah, it was interesting. I came to Oracle in the beginning as an instructor, and I remember taking a class here in the Detroit office, and it's actually in Troy. And I got to talking to the instructor afterwards. His name escapes me now, and I casually mentioned something about, yeah, I really like teaching and stuff because I taught in the Army. The Army is the largest training organization in the world, because for most of the time, all we do is spend our time training for something we hope we never do. The Navy's out there patrolling the ocean all the time, so they're kind of doing their thing. And the Coast Guard is the only service that's never at peacetime. They're always protecting our borders.
Did you know in the Coast Guard you have to be 6 foot to enter?
That's not true.
Yeah. Yes, that way if you sink, you can wade ashore.
Oh, well, there is that part, but yeah. But the Coast Guard, I really have a lot of respect for them, because they actually, they're the only ones that really go out when they go out there, they've got live ammo loaded up, because they don't know what they're going to encounter. The Marines, well, the Marines do what the Marines do, and the Air Force, they're the largest, transport service, and that's their job. But so in the Army, I trained all the time, so I liked doing that. And when I talked to this guy about training, he's like, "Oh yeah, we always need to hire new instructors." And so I went through the process and got hired in and started teaching, and really, really enjoyed that. And then moved into curriculum, was starting to write courses and stuff like that. And I kind of figured that I would do that and kind of get a well-rounded thing in the educational area, writing courses, teaching courses, all that, and move up the ranks in education. And education changed. I don't know if you guys remember, but they turned into Oracle University instead of Oracle Education, and there was a lot of changes to the basics of how they did things. And I just didn't really like what they were doing, and didn't like the direction that education was going at that time. So I went over to consulting, and I worked in the group that Kerry Millsap used to run. And Mike Irwin had taken over that group. And Mike and I went way back. I was instrumental in him getting hired at Oracle. I was one of the guys that interviewed him. So I like to say, yeah, I hired Mike, but well, not really. But Mike and I were great buddies and still are. And so he and I ran that group for a while. And the politics just got too thick, and we were like, yeah, this isn't really fun. So we decided to head over to hot sauce. And that was a wild time, going from a multi-billion-dollar corporation like Oracle to a company where you could have a company meeting with the entire company in a conference room and have chairs left over. That was kind of like, wow, so hadn't been in a small company like that for 1,000 years. So it was quite a change. But I really enjoyed my time at Oracle as an instructor. Probably learned more about Oracle than I ever would have any other way. My brother, who is a firefighter and also an instructor with the firefighting department down in Virginia, he talks about us as, his attitude is, if you want to learn something, teach it. And he's right, because, and especially now doing one class and just doing a one-time thing, yeah, that's nothing. But if you're teaching something over and over and over, you're going to get asked questions about it and look at it in perspectives that you've never ever thought of before. So you could think, oh yeah, I know this topic inside and out. Yeah, get up in front of a group of 50 people and start teaching it. And all of a sudden they start asking you questions. You're like, what? I never thought about that, you know? And that happened. I could not believe. I taught the core DBA topics over and over again. Performance tuning from a DBA perspective, you know, creating databases and all that kind of stuff. And yet every week there'd be somebody asking me a question I never thought of before. And it was like, wow, it was fascinating. So I used to always start off classes and say, you know, we're going to do an introduction thing, name, rank, serial number kind of thing. And then I said, one main question I really want you to answer is, what do you expect to get out of this class? What did you come here for? And I'd say, you know, and I would do my own introduction. I'm Rick, blah, 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 blah. And I'd say, and the thing I'm going to learn about this class, I don't really know yet, but one of you is going to ask me a question that I've never thought of. And that'll be the thing I'll learn this week, you know. And that happened. I was amazed how many times I could teach the exact same class. And with Hot Sauce, I was writing the courses too. So I knew this material, quote unquote, inside out, because I wrote it, I taught it, and I did it over and over again. And yet people would ask me questions and I'd be like, funny, I've never thought of that, you know. And maybe it was something we could figure out in class. You know, it was a question I could do a demo and we'd figure it out, or it was something I just had to work on later and come back. So teaching to me has always been a great thing, and really enjoy doing it. I have a lot of fun. You know, I enjoy the interaction. When we started teaching, you know, with the Hot Sauce, by the end, I was teaching only online, and I hated that. It's awful. Now we didn't do video because it was hard because of bandwidth and all that kind of stuff. But you know, you just don't know if the students are getting it or not. You talk, you know, you say stuff and you hear nothing. You even stop every once in a while. Anybody have any questions? Crickets, you know. And I can't see their face to see if they're going like this or they got it, whatever. So I don't know what's going on. I mean, as far as I know, they're sleeping, you know. And I think some of them were too. But it was really boring. I really hated it. Really loved the interaction. Zoom is better, you know, like this. But, you know, it's still just not that interaction that you get when you're physically in the same room. And that's really, really a great thing. And it's a better interchange. You know, I remember sitting in classes many times at break time and just chatting with the other students in the class and learning stuff from them, you know. And it's like, oh yeah, da, da, da. You know, we're talking about stuff that's not even in the class, right? And just talking about new other aspects of the database and all that stuff. So really, really enjoyed that a lot. And at Hot Sauce, I continued that. I was instructor there mostly and writing the courses and did that for many years and consulting back and forth and all that. And then the dark day happened and I got that email, Rick, we're closing the doors. See you later. Bye. And that was hard, you know, and I was thrown into a tizzy because I figured we still had some more time to try and get this ship going. And apparently I was oblivious to the fact that the rear end of the ship was completely underwater. And I was standing on the prow thinking just, you know, sunshine and rainbows up ahead, but the engine room is completely flooded.
Yeah, you just thought the boat was up on plane.
Yeah. I just thought, hey, we must be going really fast because I'm looking up, you know.
Yeah, really.
So
yeah,
that was a very dark day, and I was in a panic, and I think I even reached out to you guys about, hey, got any options? And you know, and fortunately landed a job with another small consulting company for a few years. And was on one gig that was just totally awesome. This is one of the best gigs I ever did. I was doing a conversion from Teradata to Oracle Exadata, and it was for Kaiser. And man, we were tuning SQL like no tomorrow. giant SQL statements, huge pages and pages of code, and making them run better, faster, stronger. And it was a great time. Worked with some awesome people, and then that came to an end. And did a few minor gigs, but COVID, it was problematic to get a gig. I mean, when the Kaiser gig ended, I was supposed to go on a gig with I think it was Borders Books, and they just canceled the project because they said, we don't know if we're going to be in business. All of a sudden they had to close all their stores. They're kind of like, we don't know what's going on. So all of a sudden I couldn't find work. So I bounced around through a bunch of small little gigs, which were good, but they were, measured in days and weeks, not months. And then the opportunity came back to Oracle. I called up my buddy Mike Irwin. Hey, there he is again. And I said, we just started chit-chatting about stuff as we do every once in a while. And I kind of mentioned that I was kind of stalled and I wasn't sure what was going to happen. And he goes, hey, would you like to come back to Oracle? I said, all right, Mike, talk to me. And bada boom, bada bing, here I am. And turned out it's a great gig that I'm doing right now. I love it. I tune SQL. Really, really enjoying that. I mean, I started out as a DBA, doing core DBA stuff, creating databases, backup, blah, blah, blah. And I think I found my niche really in tuning SQL. I really, really enjoy that.
I have a SQL tuning question.
I have a SQL tuning answer. Let's see if they
All right. If you have a piano, do you hit like A sharp and go ding, 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 ding?
Yeah, but you got to get the beat right. So,
Yeah.
It's the arrival time. You can calculate the arrival time through active session history.
There you go. That's exactly
okay.
right. Yeah.
All right. That tone is in his active session history. Yeah, I joke about tuning, but God, it is so important. When Roger and I first started talking, my video was just like jerky, and I'm like going, "Come on, I got 64 gig on this laptop. What could possibly be creating a jerky video?" Then I looked and I got, oh, I've got 2,000 tabs open in Chrome.
Well, there is that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always find it funny when I get on a call with somebody and they're like, oh yeah, I got this here. Hold on. And they go through like 20, 30 tabs before they finally find the thing they want to show me. It's like, you would have been better off just not having the tab and just starting from scratch. Okay. Just saying,
Oh yeah.
Or ask Chat GPT. I was curious if you have any opinions on the role of AI language models and language models such as Chat GPT of shaping the future of tech.
That's an interesting topic. I'm gun shy, I suppose, of AI. I'm a little less than excited about it because of the little bits that I've worked with so far. I've been unimpressed. It's advanced recognition or advanced pattern recognition systems, as far as I can tell. Now, obviously, it's not going to stay there. It's jumping in leaps and bounds. So it's going to be impressive. There's no doubt about it. And there's plenty of room for it. There's a lot of things that, us humanoids shouldn't have to worry about. And an AI thing could take care of for us. Something that comes to mind to me is like load balancing better. There seems to be a lot of problems with load balancing to different degrees. Now, obviously, if you've got, 5 servers and you do round robin or something like that, and you can bounce between that. But there's some other levels to that. Like what happens when one of them goes down, one of your service providers, and, there's not a human to notice that. This is where I think AI could be nice and jump up and either A, restart that service, or at least get a better signal to somebody to do something about it.
I just asked ChatGPT a very simple question. How do you tune Oracle SQL? And God, I hope people do not get this answer in the wild. Utilize query hints, and then it goes on to explain query hints. Adjust optimizer parameters.
Oh, man.
Consider partitioning.
Wow.
Now this one I agree with. Monitor and analyze execution plans. Regularly maintain the database. Hello, people.
Yeah.
101.
I'm like sitting there and I'm like going, oh no.
Yeah, well, it's a bad start when the first thing it says is try hints. I'm always I get that question a lot. I'm working with a client right now, and they wrote a query, and it's one of these fairly complex things, and it's calling many different queries to get the job done, and that's the problem, because it's got one central query that calls the other ones, and it calls them back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and that's a problem. And my analogy to that I always use when I describe this to people that are less tech is, you want to make a meal. We just had Mother's Day, right? Just a couple of days ago here in the US. So you want to make your mom a really special meal, and you realize you have none of the ingredients in your house for this meal. Now, are you going to go to the shopping center, the grocery store, whatever, and buy one ingredient, come home, put it on the shelf, and then go back to the store and buy the next ingredient? Well, I hope not. I mean, I hope you're going to make a list, go to the store once, get everything. Of course, you're going to forget something, so you have to go back, but you're going to try and go there one time and get everything, right? And that's what we need to think of when we're working with SQL. And that's the problem with this query, or this it's actually a report, so it's multiple queries and all that. It's got this one that keeps calling this back and forth. That's like going to the store for each individual item, right?
Yeah, the analogy I use is, if you were making a cup of coffee, right, you would take 2 scoops of coffee grounds and put it in whatever thing and pour the hot water through it. But if you were making 100 cups of coffee, if you did that,
it's like a Keurig versus a pot of coffee, right? Yeah. In the Army, we had the silver bullets, we called them. I don't know if you had those in the Navy, the big, huge, and they were silver.
They were 16 inches around.
Oh, yeah. Mars weren't quite that big. You're talking about the real silver bullets.
The real silver bullets.
Yeah, this one had coffee in it.
Oh, okay. Oh, the big 30 cuppers.
Yeah.
Oh,
we call them silver bullets. And I tell you, man, when it's raining and just above freezing and you've been up for 24 hours already, they come around with a Jeep with that. The best coffee you ever had in your life.
Oh,
care.
Yeah. Even if it would take the rust off of the side of the ship.
Yeah.
It was good.
The best coffee ever. Yeah, I used to joke that when I drank coffee in the Army, I clenched my teeth to keep the grains out of my mouth. Yeah. But
I have a question for you on the Army. I was just wondering what that was like, if you could see any parallels or comparisons in the tech industry, like bombs going off near you and things like that. Actually, I remember being at the Army base in Virginia and having a Paladin go off about maybe 10 feet from me.
That'll wake you up.
Maybe 30 feet from me. And that was quite an experience. It shook the whole van. Oh,
yeah. Yeah. The Army is, and all the military services are really ultimately just a big, bureaucratic organization. And so, they have their own bureaucracy, just like every other organization. So, yeah, I spend most of my time doing administrative work because that's the Army marches on paperwork. Nothing happened unless there's paperwork, right? So, there's a lot of parallels. I think that in many ways, most people would do better if they had some military service right after college, right after high school, and then go on to do whatever they want. Mm-hmm. If I ran the world, which I don't, which is probably a good thing. If I ran the country, I guess more likely. When you graduate from high school, you go off to a 16-week branch immaterial basic training course. And you learn basic BRM, basic rifle marksmanship, land nav, first aid, those kinds of things. Any skill that will be transferable to any service. At the end of that time, you could then pick to stay in the service and pick whichever branch you want to go into, or you could get out and you're done. Now the reason I say that might not be obvious, but what I've found in my experience and watching my kids and things like that is in school, for the most part, it's all about your own individual effort, your own individual achievement. But in corporate America, that's not really what it's all about. It's about the company, the team, the group that you're with. And if you're all about me, yeah, you can survive and you can make your way through, but it's the people that work as a group, as a team, as a camaraderie type thing. Those are the people that really succeed, because those are the people that become the good leaders, the good managers and whatnot, because they know how to help a team work. Mm-hmm. And there's no training like that in your schooling system in America, at least. But that's what the military is all about, because in military, it's not about you as an individual. It's about your fire team, your squad, your platoon, your company, your battalion, your brigade, etc. You as part of a bigger organization and doing your part to make sure that that bigger organization works. So I think that would be a great thing for a lot of people to do, because I think a lot of people end high school and it's all about me, what I can do. And there's value in that. I'm not going to say that that's, it's not good that you've been trained to do certain things and do them well, but how do you work with a team? How do you work with a group? And most, even in college, it's still all about your individual effort.
It's me.
Yeah.
I had a C-level position for a while at a place I will not mention. It was a very short while. And I was being referred to as a CPA, a condescending, pompous asshole. Because I do not tolerate that me.
Yeah.
Because I had a whole bunch, and it was herding kittens, which is horrible. Everybody was off doing their own thing, and it's like nobody coordinated to get accomplish an objective. And after that, I swore I am never managing a team again, because I was ready to strangle people.
Yeah, I did my time as a manager at Oracle with education, and I enjoyed it at first because I was a true first line supervisor at first. I just helped my team, do what they needed to do. I coordinated, which classes they were teaching. I helped them with their own personal training, helped them with their own, what did they want to do? Where did they want to go? What classes did they want to teach? All that kind of stuff. But then they started to push down the administrative stuff down lower, and they wanted each manager to be a cost center. And all of a sudden it's all about, managing a spreadsheet, not managing people. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, that's not for me. And my boss fortunately recognized that, and he offered me the option, and I took it, to go back to teaching and hang up my manager hat and just become an instructor again. And I did. And I kept teaching for several years after that. And it was great. I did not mind it. I did not mind it one bit that I was now not a manager. I've never been hung up on my title, whatever it is. It's, just pay me the money.
14 years ago, I was a C-band project manager, and I took a demotion to become an application DBA, where I could tune SQL all day long.
Yeah.
Databases.
Yeah. I mean, right now, there's with me at Oracle, it was funny because when I got hired at Oracle this time, the gal, the HR person, was talking to me, and she goes, well, this is, the highest title level you can be without managing people. And I'm like, that's fine. And And even my manager currently has made, inferences to me about going into management. I'm like, no, not really. That's not where I want to go. I'm perfectly fine just being a worker bee. I'll just, put my head down, grindstone, get the job done. That's fine with me. I enjoy it because I still get to teach and stuff. We put together several videos that I've done that we've made available to customers through Moss Notes and whatnot. So I still get to do a little teaching, a little bit, which is fun. And it's great working with the different customers and talk to them about stuff. So but I'm doing what I want to do, and that's great. I love it.
So a few weeks ago, you posted a blog post regarding a birthday milestone.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're very, very sort of self-reflective about that. Of course, I've passed that milestone nearly 5 years ago. So I think of you as a youngin.
Yes. I feel so young too. Yeah, well, I just thought it was appropriate at 60 to kind of pause for a second and say, hey, maybe I should write something that passed some information back to or out to people. And it was funny because I was talking to my kids about it, because the first 3 things that were in there were things that I pounded on my kids about. A, save more money. Always just save more money. If you think you're saving enough, you're not. Things happen. And, like when the hot sauce went under, I was not prepared. I had very little fallback at that time. And it was a cold bucket of water, wake up call. Van Dyke, you need a backup. And I didn't have one. And I was in big trouble. And then 2,
I remember talking to you when that happened.
Yeah, it was not pretty. I was really bad. Didn't help any that it was like just before Christmas too. Gotta love that. But second was, keep in contact with people, I remember talking to you, both of you, I think, right after that, because you were 2 guys that I've kept in contact with over all these years. And it's great, and that's always a good thing to do, and keep your contacts, your network intact. And it's been a wild ride. And when, again, when I think back on that stuff, it's been great that I've had people like you guys to be in contact with over these years, and to talk about work stuff. And when we're down and out and have, those kind of issues, or just, hey, have you seen this before kind of stuff. So keeping in contact with people you've worked with over the years is more important than I realized for a long time. So I think that's really important. And then the third thing was, don't change your jobs too much. And this is something I think I've done a little bit too much. But when I look back, I did stay in my career path. So that's good. I didn't wildly change from one path to another. Now, there's a lot of good reasons why people move from one company to another. So I'm not saying, just gut it out just because, but be careful about doing that. You may burn bridges that you didn't realize and things like that. So I got done with those 3, and then I was kind of thinking, well, I probably ought to add some more in. Well, as you guys are aware, my folks are going through some health issues, and I've had to work with them a bunch. And it made me realize how important our physical health is, and staying in some level of physical fitness. And again, I'm not talking about running marathons, climbing mountains, or anything. It's just, when I'm watching my dad, who's now having trouble, walking around the house, because he just had a pretty big surgery. He's 82 and all those things. And it's like, and he wasn't in very good shape before the surgery. And of course, after surgery, it's even worse. And it's like, wow, and I kicked myself because I thought, man, I should have been helping Dad get his physicality up prior to surgery. And I didn't. I thought about calories, making sure he had enough food in him. We got ready for the salad, but I should have been probably taking him out for walks and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, that became real. And then the last one, which is real near and dear to my heart, which is have a hobby outside of work. For a long time, my hobby, by the way, was Oracle. I mean, I remember Mike Irwin and many other instructors, we'd get together after class and order pizza and sit around in the training rooms or the hotel room and just talk Oracle till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. So it was a long time that it was that. But at some point, you kind of have to say, wait a minute, my work isn't my life. I mean, it should be something fun and enjoyable and all that, but at some point you need to have something else. And I'm a huge game player. I love playing games. You saw the picture in my post about, and that's that's a good portion of the games I own. And again, this also was brought on a little bit by my dad. I realized that he didn't really have a hobby. And when he suddenly couldn't, get around and stuff, he didn't really have much to do. And unfortunately, at 82, it's a tough time to pick up a new hobby. I'm not saying he can't, but boy, it's hard to, pick up playing, games or even something like Sudoku, which I like to do. He's found that very difficult to try and figure out how to do that because, it's something he's never done before.
Mm-hmm.
And he was an engineer at Ford and, a great mathematician in many ways, but, he's lost a lot of that skill. And all of a sudden, looking at this block where you're supposed to fit numbers in, he's kind of like, I don't get it. What am I supposed to do? I don't understand,
Well, in all respect to your father, my wife loves Sudoku and she has explained it to me many times. But I am in the same boat. I look at it and I go, why?
You know what? That was actually invented by an American.
Oh, yeah. No, it was invented by a sadist.
Okay. You can call him a sadist if you want, but it was invented in America. It was a guy who worked, I believe, at IBM, and it was called the Magic Square. Was the original. And he put it in, it was like the company newsletter.
Mm-hmm.
He'd come out with one once a month or something. And it just never caught on. But then, of course, the Japanese got a hold of it and renamed it. And all of a sudden, it's a worldwide sensation. But
maybe that's how you say magic square in the Japanese.
It might be. I really don't know what Sudoku means. If only we had a way to look up that kind of stuff. I don't know.
So yeah, we don't.
Hey Siri, what is Sudoku mean? She's not talking.
1 sec.
Oh, that means. Oh, there it goes.
A puzzle in which players insert the numbers 1 to 9 into a grid consisting of 9 squares subdivided into a further 9 smaller squares in such a way that every number appears once in each horizontal line, vertical line, and square.
Perfectly explained.
Yeah, right.
Perfect.
So,
what does the word Sudoku mean?
So below that it says Su is number, Duku is single status. The numbers are restricted to single status.
Okay. All right. And it's good to exercise your brain. Me,
right.
I got my airplane, I got my boat, I got my motorcycle. But the other thing is we spend 10 hours a day in front of a computer at times.
Yeah.
Now, Roger, you have your farm. You get to go bottle feed goats. Okay. I don't have that luxury. So what I do, hold on. I just sit here at times and I just go, I just need to exercise. I need to exercise. I need to move. And then I'm like going.
That's a good idea. I should bring my weights down.
Yeah, I've got, here it is. Nope, that's not it. Anyway, I've got one of those hand things.
Mm-hmm.
And I use that a lot.
And the other thing I have, because this is a sit-down stand-up desk.
Oh, okay.
I have this.
The stand, yeah.
And I stand on it and I have to balance.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that all comes back to that physicality stuff. I mean, dad's balance is bad. Now he was in the Air Force, lost some hearing, so that's affecting his balance. And
what? I didn't hear you. What?
I'm sorry.
What? Huh?
Yeah. I was in mortars, 4.2-inch mortars. Angle hell. We had plenty of big noise.
So Rick, we first met, I think it was like maybe 2016 at RMOUG at the airport. Right. And
yeah, we were driving. Yeah, it was
Gorman.
No, it was like four of us in the car, weren't there? There's you and I and Rob and somebody else.
But yeah, anyway, that's when you encouraged me to put in some abstracts to hot sauce, and the hot sauce conferences for me were the greatest. You know, it was really quite rewarding to see. Now, of course, this is kind of where I got the idea graybeards, because the one year you had this guy, I can't remember his name, but he was an Oracle employee, and he was saying he's one of the last of the graybeards.
I remember that.
And you look in the audience, and you looked out, and there were very few young people. You know, there were a lot of graybeards, redheads, and so forth in the audience, which worried me a little bit about Oracle, but you know, one of the most rewarding things was sitting at lunch, and a guy from Germany sat down next to him, and he goes, you know, you are the reason why we come to these conferences, you know. And then he said, not you specifically, but the kind of content that you're producing, you know. And it was just like a great opportunity to showcase what we were doing, and to help share that with other people and stuff like that. Absolutely.
The Hot Sauce Symposium's hands down the best user conferences I've ever been a part of. RMUG is great. There's a lot of great user conferences still out there, but there was a flavor to the Hot Sauce Symposium that I've never seen anywhere else. And we purposely kept it on the smaller side so that you didn't feel like you were just one of thousands. You know, you're kind of, in a smaller group, and you got a better chance to talk to the presenters and such. And, having Tom Kite there was pretty awesome. And, a lot of people got a chance to even, sit down with him at lunch and chit chat, and at huge conferences, that kind of stuff just never happened, and
I love the smaller conferences.
Yeah.
I have to tell you. And maybe we should start the Graybeard Symposium.
Might have a point there.
To speak, you must have a gray beard.
Yeah, at some point.
Wait, no. I could see there's a whole class of people that would eliminate.
Yeah, that would. Well,
so
we'll have to work on that.
Yeah, we'll have to work on that.
It's a symbology. The gray beard is symbolic of the wisdom. So you don't need a gray beard as long as you have the wisdom.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I loved hot sauce.
It was a great company to work for. Working with Carrie and Jeff, two of probably some of the top people I know for understanding performance-wise how Oracle works.
Mm-hmm.
Those two guys were fabulous, and to be able to work alongside them was just like a treat. And really everybody that was there, it was just a great group of people to work with. And it was just a dark day. Well, when Gary passed away, that was really a sad day to begin with. And then, the slope had already started at that point, and we were just, on the descent into destruction. And I, wasn't, and of course not being at the office, because I was up here in Michigan and the office is down in Texas. I didn't know how bad it really was. So I was pretty much caught by surprise when it was ended. But yeah, I'm really glad for all that time. It was great. And to meet all the people at the symposiums. I mean, I don't think I would have had near, I went to dinner with Tom Kite and stuff multiple times, and, things like that, and got to meet Chris Date, and had dinner with him and stuff like that. I mean, that's pretty phenomenal. To hang out with people like that. And Tanel and Carrie Osborne, and the list goes on and on. of all the people that I got to meet because I was with Hot Sauce. It's just, I know I wouldn't have been able to, even if I met them, it wouldn't have been in the same kind of context and the same kind of encounter. It would have been like at a giant meeting. And, I'd be a cast of thousands that was just passing by saying hi to Tom or something.
You know if Tom is fully retired, or is he?
As far as I know, he is out of the picture. Not that he and I exchanged Christmas cards or anything like that, but I've not seen anything from him. I know the last time we reached out to him at Hot Sauce, we kind of reached out and said, hey, do you think you might want to do one more thing? And he was like, hard pass, nope. And so as far as I know, he's hopefully living his dream and having a good time and all that.
I just saw a picture recently of CJ Date.
Yeah, that's right. I did. Yeah, he was just speaking somewhere, right?
Yeah. I don't remember the particulars, but I do remember, this is going back into the 90s, course on object relational databases, and he had a book on that topic, and I got his, had a chat with him and had his autograph and stuff like that. And of course, in college, he sort of loomed large with EFCOD and so forth. So
yeah, well, I've got his book over there that I had in college. Still have it. I tried to get it sent to me while I was at the symposium, and he was there to have him sign it, but it arrived the day after he left. And so I was like, missed it by that much. But
Kerry Millsap put together a talk with CJ Date, a 1 week class, and I signed up for it, and there was like 10 people in the class. And all I could think was, when I got there, is like, this is PhD level set mathematics. I'm like sitting here going, dude, you're breaking my brain.
Well, if you can't do Sudoku, I mean, you're already behind the curve.
I can fly a plane.
Well, there is that. Okay, all right. And every landing you walk away from is a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the set theory is the kind of thing that hooked me on relational database, because I learned one of my first programming assignments was this big Fortran program that was written sort of single row at a time. It was written for a hierarchical database where you could only access the data single row at a time. And I'm thinking to myself, this is going to take me weeks to convert this to Pro Fortran. And then all of a sudden I realized that I could do the whole thing in one SQL statement. And I was done that afternoon. So I said, I can like this.
I like this. Yeah. Oh yeah. I took the first relational database class at my college, and it was so tough and so hard. They split it into 2 sections the next year because it was too much to do in one class. And we wrote a relational database in C. So,
cool.
Yeah. Now, it was an interesting thing. I never got the update to work correctly. So if you did an update in my database, you deleted a row and inserted a new row, because the update command I could never get it to work right. So it was a technique. But this is interesting, a foretelling of the future. The reason that I got an A in that class wasn't because my database that I wrote was so great, because it kind of wasn't, but I had the best documentation for my database in class. She said that most people just turned in their program and she had no idea how to even, start it up and run it or anything. And she said, yeah, Rick is the only one that provided like a user guide that actually showed me how to connect to his database and run the commands and all that kind of stuff. And it's, foretelling, because then I went into education, and training people how to do this stuff. So it's kind of interesting that that's how it worked out. So, yeah, anyway, I often think about that, and yeah, it's amazing.
So you had to write the interpreter and everything. So the SQL interpreter.
Yeah. So you'd write a SQL statement, and our language was very limited. It was just, we were supposed to be able to do like, I think create table, drop table, insert, update, and delete. That was it. Oh, and a select, of course. But my update never really worked right, and my insert and delete process. So if you wrote an update command behind the scenes. I converted that into a delete and insert, which was a little dangerous, of course, but it worked. And
well, you'd have to deal with row expansion and all that other stuff.
yeah, so it was okay. I mean, it kind of worked, but you get, and there was no joins in this database. It was just flat tables. It was very, very simplistic. We only had like, what, about 8 weeks to write this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
so you didn't have gathering statistics and a cost-based
there was no
optimizer.
stats. There was no stats. You just
no,
and
Database.
my select statement just, it was very simplistic. So, it was, and it was, most of us were struggling to get it done by the end of the semester. So that's why they broke it up into 2 sections the next semester. It was, a 401 and a 402 or whatever it was, instead of just one class, because it was just too much to get done in one semester. But it was good times. And that really hooked me. And I remember in that class, we studied Ingress.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Database.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And towards the end of the class, the instructor said something about, yeah, there's this database out there called Oracle. Looks like it might be pretty good. That was the only reference to Oracle the whole time. Now this is, let's see, I graduated from college in 80, what was that? 87, 88, somewhere around there. So Oracle was, really kind of coming on the ball at that point,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we studied Ingress, which I think you'd be hard pressed to find an Ingress database. I mean, I know they're still around, but they're not very common.
Not
So
many of them.
You said that you did SQL Forms, and I remember doing SQL Forms.
Oh yeah,
version 1, and then we went to version 2, and it was like excellent. But I still most of the time just did that switching in and switching out to.
Oh yeah, you go back and forth between the command line and the tool or whatever. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite was still version 3. I could generate all the code, open it up in VI, and tweak it to my heart's content.
Yeah, we would do that. We'd write the basic form with the tool and save that, and then the rest of the time was all in VI or whatever flavor editor we had at the time. And yeah, well, I was at Ford at the time, and they were getting, what was the GUI version of Forms? Was that 4 or 5?
4.
It was 4.
The first one was 4.
Yeah. So these guys had written like GUI-like interfaces with the command line version of Forms. So it looked, I mean, it was all character based, but it was GUI-like. There was buttons you could push and things like that. Well, they couldn't convert it to version 4 of Forms because they had done all this internal customization, writing it all, da 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 da. Well, the Forms interpreter just like so they were like in a panic. How are we going to upgrade to 4? And I remember going over to their shop and like, oh my God, you guys are in trouble. I was in a different part of Ford, and this was with transmission, I think it was. And they had a beautiful application. It was awesome for a text-based application. It rocked. But there was no way they were going to convert that to Forms 4. They were just going to have to scrap that and write a whole new app because the interpreter just wouldn't even understand the code they wrote. It was just, But yeah, Forms was great. Now, have either of you used reports?
Yes.
I hated that thing. I could never get that thing to work.
No, I liked it before the GUI version.
RPT?
I don't care which version, it was horrible.
You're talking about RPT?
Yeah, the old RPT.
Hold it. Rick, this might impact your bonus. Be careful, because reports is still out there. Your boss is going to send you on a reports optimization gig.
And they have AI that scans these things and find out.
That's right. Yeah, they're going to find me.
Yeah,
I love reports. Reports are awesome.
Larry's sitting there going.
Yeah, we used another tool. I forget what it was called now, but it was kind of, it was like it was SQR.
SQR?
Yeah, SQL report writer. It was not
Oh
an Oracle
yeah.
tool.
Use that.
It was
Yeah.
not an Oracle tool. And we used that to write our reports with. That rocked. It was awesome. And
Yeah, I remember using
I think,
that. Was that a third party or that was?
yeah, there was a third party.
That was a
I think Oracle eventually bought them, but they were, it was its own interface, its own thingamajigger, and it was really nice. And we used it for a lot of stuff. We used it for loading data, generating reports, of course, but we used it for a lot of stuff because to me it's almost like SQL Developer today. I mean, today I like SQL Developer a lot, and people use that for all kinds of stuff. It's not just developing SQL statements and whatnot. You can use it practically as a full-on application if you do it right. And we load data with it all the time at work. We just it's great when you want to load, like, I don't know, up to a couple 100,000 rows. It's perfect. You got something in a spreadsheet, click, boom, it's in there. And SQL, the SQR reminds me of, but it was command line.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like like the GUI SQL Developer is today. That's one thing that Jeff Smith did do right. He really did do a great job as SQL Developer. I mean, he really took that tool from some kind of okay tool to something today that's very, very useful for a lot of folks. It's not the end all be all for everybody, but boy, it does a lot. And
he listened to the customers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he listened.
yeah,
He listened to the customer, and Sue Harper gave him a good baseline to start with.
Yeah. I mean, the tool was okay when he started with it, but boy, he's really launched that into something else. He's pulled together a great team. He's got some great folks working with him. And
Jeff is awesome. And if you give him a bottle of Pappy Van Winkle, he'll be your friend for life.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a great guy. I have a great photo of him and I at a conference once, and I'm standing like 2 steps up on a thing so I can look him in the eye. And
he is tall.
Yeah, he's a tall guy.
He
and I used to I'd go down there for what's the conference down there?
East Coast.
Thank you. Yep, that was. Yeah, I'd go to that, and we'd hang out and go to all the craft beer places down there and stuff, and that's good times. Yeah, he's a great guy,
and he's
I like to give him
smart,
crap, but,
even though he's from West Virginia.
Yep, exactly.
He is smart.
Even though, huh? Is that
a little
caveat
caveat there, but
just a little caveat,
He's and again, there's another guy that I met through Hot Sauce. I mean, honestly, he was presenting at Hot Sauce. That's how I really got to know him. And it's been fantastic. And he and I presented at multiple different conferences together, just like with you guys. I mean, I've been at a lot of conferences with you guys too. And it's it's great. It's great to get to know these people. You kind of hear about some of these people sometimes, just read about them on the web or whatever, and you kind of wonder what they're really like, and then you get to hang out with them, and it's like, hey, they are pretty cool, And,
well, some of us are.
Well, yeah.
I've been working on my personality.
You need to. It's
yes.
I didn't want to bring that up, but since you brought it up.
Rob has a war story where he got in trouble by HR for asking a question, but I don't remember the exact details. But
all right, I got called into HR, and the person said, "Did you call this person stupid?" And I said, "No, I asked them if they are stupid." Completely different.
That's very different. Yeah.
Then he got Rob does not work and play well with others on his
Well, he can work on that. He'll get it. He'll get it eventually.
Kindergarten. Roger fails to keep his hands off of other children. And then there's a stick figure of like one kid with his hands around the neck of another kid.
Yeah.
I don't tolerate fools. We can have a good time, okay, But when it comes to getting the job done, if you don't know what you're doing and you want to know something, and I tell this to people all the time, ignorance is not a bad thing. Ignorance just means I don't know. All right, that's all it means.
I can fix ignorance.
I can fix ignorance. I cannot fix stupidity.
Yeah, but duct tape does muffle the sound. So yeah.
Amen, brother. Amen. You know, it's like I don't know where I heard this expression, but I love it. It says, I would rather have a hole in my team than an asshole on my team.
Never heard that before. I like that. That's
I like it. I like it. And the thing is, it's the people who don't know but want to convince you they know. Those are the ones I had the most difficulty with.
Yeah.
Maybe it's I'm just getting old.
Yeah. A little less tolerant of some stuff.
A little less tolerant. I turned 63 in a few days. So, hey, I know I'm getting old.
It happens.
Somebody give me a walker.
Yeah, they say it beats the alternative, but I'm not sure of that because, no one's ever come back. So I'm wondering, if it's so great on the other side, it's like, they're like, yeah, this is awesome. I'm not going back there. So, but I'll find out soon enough. I'm not going to rush it, but we're all going to get there someday. But
let's not rush it.
And no need to rush.
Having a good time.
As I like to say, I'm Dutch, not Russian. So I don't.
Oh, yes. Yes. And I tell my Russian friends to please slow down.
Yeah.
Just slow down. Don't be so Russian.
Yeah.
Some of them.
They probably really appreciate that. Yeah.
They do appreciate that.
When I was in Russia, they called us the smiling Americans. So I guess Americans walk down the street of Moscow or whatever, smiling at everybody.
Well, that's because most Russians, can't smile. So,
Well, I've been in Russia many times, as most of you know. And what I discovered is Russians are so stoic. The smiles just don't come naturally.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like they just long face all the time. And then when you get to know them and they are outside of Russia, oh my God, they're hilarious.
Yeah.
So, and so let's get political and start talking about the Ukraine. What do you think?
So speaking of Russia, my grandfather was in Russia pre-World War II.
Okay.
And was helping build a Ford factory there to make Model Ts.
Okay.
And that factory is still there. I forget the name of the town, but
obviously did a great job. The factory's still there.
But anyway, so this is pretty strict time in Russia and whatnot. And this is the story as I know it, and I presume at least there's parts of this that are actually true, but I'm not positive. He was in Moscow and at Red Square, and he's standing there and he's looking around and he's kind of like taking in the vista. He has a camera that he bought on the way there that he's very proud of, and he really liked this camera. And but he'd been told that you can only take pictures in certain places and stuff like that. So, but he's standing there, he's all by himself, and he looks around. There's some people in the distance, whatever. And the only person close by to him is some bum, like sleeping on a thing behind him. And so he's like, looks around and he says, I want to take a picture. So he picks up his camera and takes a picture. All of a sudden, there's a tap on his shoulder. It's the bum from the chair. And the guy says, Mr. Van Dyke, there are no pictures in Red Square. And it wasn't, excuse me, sir, please don't take pictures. Mr. Van Dyke, he knew exactly who that was. He was his minder.
One of them.
Elemental P, QRS, whatever it was.
One of many.
Yeah. And he said, yeah, after that, I didn't really step out of the line too much.
the first time.
I have that picture, by the way.
Oh, good.
The guy said, did you take a picture? And he says, oh, no, you interrupted me before I could take the picture. I have the picture downstairs. So
the first time I was in Russia, I was staying at the Metropole, which is right by Red Square. There's like 3 hotels in the world that compare to it, like the Ritz, Paris, Clarion, the Astoria, New York. Fabulous, fabulous hotel. Every customer facing person knows your name and your likes and dislikes. I wonder why, but that's another story.
Yeah.
First night there, I'm a smoker, I'm jet lagged. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I go outside and I start smoking a cigarette. And I'm just breathing and I'm just looking around, and there's Revolution Square. There's off to the right is the Bolshoi, and there's Red Square over this way. And three guys started walking across Revolution Square towards me. And I'm just kind of watching them out of the corner of my eye. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Two of the biggest men I have seen in my lifetime come out of the hotel, walk up to the three guys, and point, and they just changed direction, and then they disappeared back into the hotel. I'm thinking, wow,
Personal bodyguard, gotta love it.
Wow, I'm safe here. No, yes, I'm safe. If anybody's going to F with me, it's going to be it's going to be them. It's not going to be just a couple of random dudes, you know.
Yeah. They want to make sure you can pay your bill at the end of the stay.
Well, Rick, I think the only topics we haven't covered yet that were from your bio was the cooking and the and the music. Well, we also did talk a little bit about World War II movies, but
cooking. Yeah, I love to cook. It's pretty. My mom has been commenting to me recently, how'd you become such a good cook? And I'm like, because I like good food. It's pretty simple, you know. I could eat out every day, I guess, and just buy pizza and hamburgers and stuff. But so yeah, I've become a pretty good cook. I think. I mean, well, let me put it this way: I cook food, and people like to eat it. So you know, there's that. And I've got my own little cookbook that I'm going. It's just mostly stuff I've gleaned from here, there, and I modify a little bit, and you know, then I write it down and make those things. And yeah, I really enjoy cooking. It's a lot of fun. It's a good way to get away from work. And of course, it's a natural function. We got to eat. So let's make some good food.
Hold it. Let's call a press. We are going to put out Rick's cookbook, Optimizing Oracle in the Kitchen.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it won't be a very big seller, but it might be fun to put together. Yeah. And then the music wise, yeah, I'm
sequel recipes or sequel tuning recipes or
sequel tuning.
Yes.
Let's see, I'll have to work on that a little bit. Yeah. Select good food from recipe or something. Yeah, I don't know.
Select beef from refrigerator.
Yeah.
Insert into
oven. Yeah.
Oven. We could have fun with this.
Yeah. We could.
Music.
Yeah, I love music. I listen to classical music most of the time. It's great background music when I'm working because you know, it's I love rock and roll. I'm a rock and roll guy, you know. And you know, the old time rock and roll, 70s, 80s, 60s even. But I find that music can be distracting when I'm working because I'll like hear a song I like and I'm like, yeah, you know, and I'm jamming to it. Well, it doesn't help me get work done. So I love to have classical playing because I like listening to it. It's good music and it's not pulling me into it, right? So I can have Beethoven, Mozart, etc. playing in the background, and I enjoy hearing that without being like jamming to it. So jumping up and doing my air guitar thing or something. So
yeah, it's hard to do air guitar to Bach.
Yeah, not a lot of opportunities there. So
no.
But yeah, good stuff.
What's your favorite World War II movie?
Favorite World War II movie? Boy, that's a tough one. Saving Private Ryan is very good, especially the beginning where they show the landing at the beaches, because it's exceptionally realistic. The whole movie is exceptionally realistic, except for the mission itself. The mission itself never happened like that. Right? Saving Private Ryan actually happened, but the way it happened was they got a memo that this guy's brothers had been killed, which actually turned out to be not true. And they went to a chaplain and said, hey, you need to go find Private Ryan and bring him back so we can send him back to stateside. The chaplain jumped in a Jeep, drove over to the headquarters, said, where's Private Ryan? They said, he's over there. He picked him up and drove him back and left. It would make for a really boring movie. So
they added drama.
Yeah, they modified it a little bit.
A little bit.
A very, very realistic movie, which I find good, because I've done a lot of research on World War II, and I know, when I look at something, I can tell, is that authentic, I really liked and hated Fury. Fury was a good movie, again, very realistic in its sequences and stuff, but unfortunately, tactics used were just god awful. For example, the time when they encounter the tiger, and first of all, the tiger, chased down the Shermans. Uh-oh, are you guys still there?
Yeah, we're here, but
we're here, but you are going in and out on us. It's like a bandwidth issue.
Okay, I got the infamous. You're able.
Do you want a hot apple pie with that?
Are we there?
Yeah, you're back.
Oh, it looks like we might be back. Okay. Anyway, so there's the things I hate about that scene is, one, that the tiger even out of hiding to shoot at the Shermans. If he was already in a good position, why leave it? Second, Fury was outfitted with a 76 millimeter gun.
That's big.
By the tube that was on the tank. Yeah, and it would have been able to penetrate the front armor of the tiger.
Okay.
Yeah. They perpetuated a false urban myth that the only way a Sherman can take out a tiger is from the rear. And, he drives all the way around to the back of the tiger and then shoots it, which was completely unnecessary. He could have taken it out from the front. So, that was a really bad scene. It was just horrible. And then the final scene was even worse, but I won't go into that.
Why didn't they just use a javelin?
Sorry?
Why didn't they just use a javelin?
Well, they left it back at headquarters.
They forgot to requisition it.
Yeah. But and we'll go back into older World War II movies. I loved Longest Day. Great movie. And for its time, it did a very good portrayal of D-Day. Really good that way.
I've been to Normandy twice.
I've been there only once, but yeah.
And that's sobering, the cemetery.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I was up on Point du Hoc, and it was like, wow. You see it pictures and look at maps and stuff. You don't get the magnitude of what these guys were doing. And when you look at the beaches and the water line and this huge beach, and then there's the
wall,
cliffs and stuff, and it's like, wow, they were going across that, and machine gun fire, mortars, everything. It's like, it's amazing that operation worked. A lot of things went right and wrong in order for that day to come out victorious for the Allies. And who knows what what world would be like if that day didn't work.
Right.
It'd be fascinating in some ways to speculate, but and there's lots of old John Wayne movies I love, World War II, that are somewhat Hollywood, but good times because it's John Wayne, right? So
yeah.
But yeah, World War II shaped a lot of good, bad, or indifferent of the world today. And I think it's good that we kind of, to some extent at least, remember what happened then, so we can be aware of why things are the way they are, why Israel even exists, why there's all the problems in that area of the world. That's all from the end of World War II. Why that, it's interesting that Europe is now basically calm. There were wars going on in Europe up until after World War II.
Thousands of years.
Yeah, and now they've pretty much stopped. I suspect, there will be a day, maybe we'll be alive to see it or not, when there won't be different countries in Europe. It will really be, a united thing. There'll be different states, just like we hear in the United States, but there might not be individual governing bodies like there are now. The whole Euro thing might become a political thing, not just a monetary thing. We'll see. I don't know.
Really good book to read. The End of the World is Just Beginning by Peter Zion.
I've heard of it. I've not read it yet.
Read it. It's an excellent book, and it's about the United States backing out of Bretton Woods. Bretton Woods is what made Europe so stable.
Yeah.
Okay. And the United States, if you look at the last couple of years, we have been pulling a little bit back from Bretton Woods more and more, end of globalization. And you can see little tidbits of it here and there.
Yeah, I think we have to. It's we've overextended. It's pretty clear. End of World War II, there was a vacuum and we filled it.
Yeah, we filled the vacuum.
And now we got to pull back. We can't keep doing it.
We can't. People go, Russia wants to be the dominant currency. China wants to be but China has its own problems, and I'm going to start getting not political but economic. China's big issue is they have too many controls on the currency. To be a global currency, you cannot have that control. It's got to be able to flow freely. Every time China has reduced the controls of the currency, they have capital flight, which they don't want.
Right. Yeah, they want that very strongly, but the rest of the world does not.
Well, and
you're right, because they don't want the communist control of currency.
Right. And it gets down to India's been buying boatloads of oil from Russia. All right, Russia's been paying, or India's been paying Russia in rupees, and Russia's like, what are we going to do with all these rupees?
Yeah. Now what?
Now what? Yeah. So it's really interesting. See, I study systems. I'm really good at Oracle, but I look at how systems work and how to hack systems. So I'm having a lot of fun watching the economics of what's all's going on.
Yeah, I'm not as well in tune to it as you are, as by far, but just these observations, it's interesting to see what's going to happen. And I wonder, where we're going with all that stuff. And I just, I just hope I make it through another 5 or 6 years so I can start hopefully collecting my Social Security and
and it's still worth something.
And and there's something still there, and I can have this thing called retirement. I've heard of it.
Well, after Friday, I'm moving into semi-retirement.
Yes, I heard that.
Yeah. So. And I'll continue consulting, but I'll pick and choose my customers.
Yeah.
And it's got to be interesting work.
Yeah. Well, there's plenty of that out there. It's finding it.
OracleWizard.com.
Oracle Wizard. Yes, OracleWizard.com. Email me. If it's interesting and I don't fundamentally agree with you, if I fundamentally disagree with you or you're an asshole, I don't want to work with you. Okay. Let's just get that out of the way right now.
Okay.
I can say
Glad
that
you got that
because
up front. Yeah.
We need to work on your marketing pitch, Rob.
Yeah.
okay.
We gotta work on that a little bit, I think. Yeah.
Well, I could say it because I have money in the bank.
Well, yeah. For the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, for the moment until I spend it.
Yeah.
Avgas
Yeah.
has gotten expensive.
I wonder, what I'd love to do in retirement is teach again and teach at a university, like, probably a SQL optimization type course, one semester,
Community college,
community college, maybe
professor,
something like
adjunct
that.
professor. I actually put in an application for Anne Arundel Community College,
Yeah.
adjunct professor of Oracle. Did
Yeah.
that a couple days ago.
Problem is I don't pay real well, but if I'm able to retire and I have, my basic living expenses covered, then doing that would be fine. And they can pay me, a pittance and it'll be okay, because as long as I can, pay the bills and get food on the table, I have no highfalutin ambitions of traveling the world after retirement or anything like that. So I can just live here in my house, play my little games, and teach a course. That'd be awesome. That would be fabulous. And we'll see if that happens. But I've got there's a community college really close to me here. That I could probably do. And yeah, that'd be awesome.
And they would be lucky to have you.
Well, thank you very much.
Use me as a reference.
Okay. You got to work on that asshole part. So you got to leave that part out.
Oh, damn it. Damn it.
So
I don't want to work for assholes. I'm sorry.
Yeah. We got to work on that. We got to find a better word to put in there.
Okay.
We'll work on it.
All right. Yeah.
So should we ask you, Rick, any upcoming projects or goals or exciting things that you're have on the plate coming up?
Not really. Yeah, it's my world has kind of shrunk because of my folks, taking care of my folks a lot. So I used to go to gaming conventions and stuff like that, but right now it's like I got to take care of them. They've got some serious health issues, and I got to worry about them right now. But yeah, it's I guess probably the biggest thing coming up is next June, not this June, but next June, my middle daughter's getting married. So that'll be exciting. That'll be fun. She's getting married out in Utah. She's living out there right now. And my youngest daughter is now living in Texas. And my son is here near me, and my oldest daughter is also still near me. But my middle daughter will be the second one, I'm sorry, to get married. My son, this is hilarious. My son got married, was it last year? I think it was last year. And all these days are getting confused in my head. And but it's great. He got married on Halloween in Hell, Michigan. There really is a Hell, Michigan. And they were having weddings there every hour that day. It's the place to get married, I guess, on Halloween. So they didn't actually plan it that way. They wanted to get married on Halloween because his wife is a big Halloween fan. She loves Halloween. So they just wanted to get married on Halloween. And then it just happened that the only place they could find to do it
was in Hell.
Yeah. And it was a lot of fun. It was just the very, very immediate family, small little ceremony. It was a lot of fun. And it's just hilarious that my son got married in Hell, on Halloween. So
hopefully that's not projective of his marriage.
Yeah. Well, there were some people that showed up during the wedding, and I said, "Oh, you guys here for getting married next?" They go, "Oh no, we got married here last year. We're just back to, have fun and stuff." And Hell, Michigan is a really small little community, and there's like almost nothing there, but there's just enough. But it was hopping that day. The bar / restaurant was pretty packed, so it was fun. And it was a nice day too. It turned out
So
to
is
be.
that the English word hell, or is it some other language?
No, it's just hell, Hell, just like
Uh,
you think of it. Yeah.
I'll be dipped in lukewarm gook.
And then they've got a big gate behind the place, and it says the gates of hell. And they got married under the gates of hell, so it was pretty funny.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's probably about it. No big adventures. I'm probably going to drop out of I pretty much have already dropped out of the speaking circuit.
Hold it. We have the Graybeard Symposium.
I know, but we'll get that going, and I'll do that for sure. But yeah, I used to try and get to like Armugh and the East Coast thing, and then there was a gig down in Cleveland I used to go to every year, and I'll probably do the one here in Michigan. There's one that's right. I mean, I just drive over there, do my presentation, and drive home because it's that close. I'll probably still do that one for what's it called? Mouse. Michigan Oracle User something. I forget how it stands for. But I'll probably still do that one. It's fun, and it's local, and it's easy. But yeah, it's just become too much I was telling my girlfriend the other day, I said, if I never got on an airplane again, I'm okay with that. Traveled enough, so the person that came up with that saying, it's not the destination, it's a journey, clearly never did business travel.
Oh God, no.
It's like, yeah, this whole journey business is a bunch of bunk. It's horrible.
I will say this. I was in Saudi Arabia on business, and I flew back business class.
Yeah, geez, I mean, come on, that's not traveling. That's like a vacation on the plane. I mean, geez.
Oh yeah, the business class section. I've seen it in advertisements. I didn't believe it. They have a bar.
Yeah.
In the business class section. I'm like going, I'm happy.
You're on a mini yacht flying through the air.
Yeah. It is.
That's that kind of travel I'll do.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. But I'm not going to pay $5,000 just for my flight.
Oh, so, that was more than 5,000. Do you know Sandish Row? Do you know Sandish Row?
Say again, over.
Sandish Row.
Yes. Oh yeah. Sorry, couldn't hear you.
I ran into him.
Did it hurt?
And no, it didn't. In oh God, not Emirates. What's the name of the city that Ethan is based in? Dubai.
Abu Dhabi.
No, not Abu Dhabi. I ran into him in Dubai. I'm connecting in Dubai from Saudi Arabia to Dubai to Washington.
Yeah.
I land in Dubai. I put on Facebook, hey, I'm in Dubai. And Sandy's is like, hey, I'm in the airport too.
Come on over. Yeah.
Yeah, come on over. We sat there and chatted for a couple hours before I had to go find the business class lounge and, start drinking champagne.
Yeah, tough life. It is fun to do that kind of stuff when you bump into, colleagues, friends, coworkers while you're traveling. But what amazed me is how rarely that happened. All the times I flew in and out of my Detroit airport here, I can count on one hand the time I bumped into a friend, a coworker, whatever at the airport. And it's like, really? It's like, that's amazing to me that all those different times I rarely saw somebody I knew.
Mm-hmm.
So it is fun when that happens.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I love it. But yeah, now I'm at that stage in my life where it's like I might do 2 or 3 conferences a year, maybe 4. But if it involves getting on a commercial airliner for any reason whatsoever, since I'll be semi-retired, I'm not flying business class anymore. And if I can't fly my plane to it, I might do 1 or 2. I might do Poland.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just, like the Michigan one, of course. The one in Cleveland I like going to. That's a lot of fun too, because a lot of folks were there, but yeah, that's one thing I don't miss about being with hot sauce and education was flying all the time. Because
Yeah.
the one thing, the one thing about education was you never went back to the same place, or rarely. And if you did, it would be a year later or something. Unlike consulting, like my consultants, at Hot Sauce and even at Oracle, you'd go to the same client for 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
You get to know the hotel staff, where all the restaurants are, it's like, home away from home thing. Education was never like that, because maybe I teach at the same place 2 or 3 weeks in a row, maybe. Like I taught in Hawaii for 3 weeks, because fly over there, you might as well, teach. I've taught in Amsterdam for 3 weeks. Taught in Iceland. No, those were always 1 weeks, but because there are not a lot of people in Iceland. Just saying, not a big, market, but it's rough when you're always going to a different place. It's tough, because it's okay. I got to figure out which restaurants I can eat at again, and and you end up eating at the hotel because I just don't want to bother. I get done teaching a whole day, and I'm exhausted. I don't want to go out, trying to find a place to eat. It's like, okay, they have decent food here at the hotel. Fine, it's good enough, And people would always say, "Oh, you went to X town." It's like, yeah, it looked like every other town I've been to. Same hotel room. I went to a conference room. I went back to my hotel room.
What I always hated was waking up in the middle of the night and going, "What country am I in? What time zone am I in?"
Yeah.
And you look around and every hotel looks the same.
Yeah. So I got a great funny story about that. So I was at a place, and I taught there for a week, and I went to a new place to teach, but it was the exact same hotel chain.
Mm-hmm.
The rooms were exactly the same, except I was on the other side of the hall. So the room was a mirror image of the room I was in last week. I get up in the middle of the night to take a leak, and I walk straight into the wall, because that's where the bathroom was, on the other side of the hall. Okay. That was like, oh my gosh, I think I've been traveling too much, And the worst ever for me was I woke up at home and wasn't sure where I was. I was like, wait a minute, where am I? Oh my God, I'm at home. Jeez. Okay, yeah, I've been traveling too much. Got to cut back.
Yeah, I remember my worst one was I logged 28,000 miles in 1 week.
That's impressive. Yeah.
Oh, I remember getting home, dropping my bags, walking upstairs to the bedroom. I think I got my shirt off. And then I was like, boom, don't wake me for a week.
Yeah. That's the one thing I didn't do, is a lot of miles per week, because I flew in on Sunday, stayed there till Friday, came home.
Yeah, this was more like,
you were going.
I went to a city, I spoke, I got on a plane, I went to a city, I spoke, I went to another, and they were not in the same country.
Yeah.
And then I made it all the way to Central Asia. And I remember I'm in Tajikistan. Okay. And there is an Oracle users group in Tajikistan. It's actually quite wonderful. And maybe we'll get Rustam on the podcast. I'll give him a call. He's a great guy. My flight back, I was connecting in Moscow. And I'm just like, I want to get home, but I was starting to get sick. And I remember I'm going through immigration. I am sweating. I am tired. I'm just ready to get home.
Yeah.
I get to immigration in Russia, and the immigration lady, who did not own a smile, goes, "You were in Dushanbe. What were you doing in Dushanbe?" And I'm like, "I was giving a talk at an Oracle user group." "What were you doing in Dushanbe?" I was giving a talk in the Oracle users group. And then she does the thing you don't want any immigration person to do. She goes like this.
Yeah.
Calls her supervisor over, who pulls me out, and he's flipping through my passport, which was almost full.
That's always bad.
That's always bad. And he's asking me, well, why were you in Helsinki on this date? Why were you? And he's like, and I'm picturing in my back of my mind, I'm thinking there's a line of Russian soldiers behind me ready to take me into the back room and waterboard me. That's what's going through my head. And, you know, he's asking, and I'm like going, dude. And I literally said, dude, come on. I am trying to get home. I have got to go through immigration, switch airports to get to, because I am tired. I really just want to go home. I've got a flight in 12 hours. I'm going to find a hotel at the other airport. And he goes, he has a Russian visa. Let him in. So I get to back in front of this lady. And for my company, I had pins with a laser on them. And I pick up one of the pins and I go, do you have cats? And she's like, duh, I have cats. And I take the laser and I point it at her desk and she goes, oh, Spasiba! It drives my cat crazy. Here, have a pin.
Merry Christmas. Yeah.
Well,
because I was in Dushanbe.
We normally go for an hour, and I can see we're pushing. Not that I can't go longer, but
oh, I'm okay. I tell people, you know, I used to talk for 8 hours straight teaching class. So you get me going, I can go a long time. But let's not do 8 hours.
Yeah, let's not do 8 hours. And as a matter of fact, I'm getting tired. I have to refill my water.
Yeah. And
I thought you were drinking wine through a straw.
Yeah.
No. This was the wine. It was long empty. Then I switched to water.
My cup is empty, so cuppeth runneth outeth.
Yeah, my cup. I have ice in there, but it doesn't do good through a straw.
Yeah.
Well, Rick, would you like to give us any closing statements, such as advice to someone starting their career in the IT industry or something else, whatever hobby horse you have?
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. I've thought about that, and you know, none of my kids are in IT. Well, my son sort of is, but not really. And I think that's good. IT isn't what it was when I started and when you guys started. I mean, you know, I took a programming class in high school, and, you know, it's Apple computers, Apple II computers, basic programming. You know, IT just isn't where it was. And I don't know what to tell people starting in IT now, because like you brought up AI earlier, that's going to change the whole face of IT. And I've been saying this for years, but I'm really seeing it happen now. We are programming ourselves out of a job. As a coder, we're writing code that writes code, and it's getting better. It's been pretty awful, but it's getting better. And we're in many ways programming ourselves out of a job. Now, and that may be good. You know, maybe we don't need heavy duty coders in the future, and the AI will take care of all that for us and whatnot. But I don't know what to tell people starting in IT, except I do recommend to go into security. Yes. Because that's going to be a big, big thing. No matter what, there's going to have to be, you know, somebody's got to watch the watchers, right?
Amen.
So even if we have AI doing our security for us, somebody's got to watch the AI.
Somebody's got to watch the watchers. And, you know, I've said this time and time again. You know, it's like I tell people, don't give me the root password. I don't want to know it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know,
yeah, I do a lot of my work now. I can't log on to their systems directly. I can get to their systems and I can see stuff, but I can't look at their data. And I love that. I don't want to be responsible for, you know, possibly knowing, you know, personal private information. Even, you know, when I did a gig earlier, we had direct access to the system, and we were all being very careful. You not to download data even accidentally or anything. And we ran the queries, but only looked at the row counts, unless
good.
Unless there was a discrepancy about the data, and they wanted to verify. And then we usually just ran it, saved it, and sent it to them to look at. But we didn't, I don't want to see it. Don't want to see it. And because I just don't want to even be in a position where it's even a question that I may have breached somebody's data. I don't want to be there. So I love the fact that I can't even get to their data. Now it makes my job a lot harder because I can't see like distribution of values, things like that. But I've learned to work with that, and I can still make good advice by not being able to see that stuff. But I can look at the stats of the table, fine. I can run a query to see how big the table is, cool. I can see which indexes there are, which columns, cool. But I can't see any of the data, and I'm okay with that because I don't want to have that it even be a question that I saw some personal private information, and I like that. But yeah, so what do I tell people who want to get into IT? I tell them, be careful. It's a big field. There's a lot of things. It's much more specialized than when I got in, right? When we started, you were a programmer. DBA applications, why and when did it become apps and not programs? I still don't remember when that happened, but we used to write programs. Now people write apps. When did that happen? Anyway, but I don't think going in and learning C programming today is a great way to start your career. You might need to know that, I guess, but like you said, AI is going to probably take care of that for us. It's going to write the code. We're just going to maybe have to verify it, tweak it,
tweak it, yeah.
And there'll probably be a need for a fairly small number of folks that really know how to code, machine code, stuff like that. But that group is going to be pretty small. So I wouldn't recommend going into that unless it really just, knocks your socks off, then go for it. Whatever, the key is whatever you're going to do as a career better be something you really, really enjoy. I mean, when I took my first programming class in high school, I was like, wow, this is the coolest thing ever. And I'd never varied. I started college as a computer science major and never, ever changed. And I've always been in computer science. That's been my career because I love it. I think it's great. But am I as in deep as I was back then? No. I used to write, machine language code and stuff back then. Now, I couldn't even remember what a register is, let alone, peak and post and all that stuff.
I was a second semester forestry major, or actually, sorry, second semester of my junior year as a forestry major when I dropped out and came back 3 years later for computer science. And 1980, I had never actually even seen a computer in my life.
Yeah. So I think the advice that I try to give folks and gave my own kids, do something you like doing. And my brother's a firefighter, and he and I were both into IT, but he went in a slightly different direction. He went into COBOL programming, and I went into C programming kind of thing. I wouldn't even recognize COBOL code if you showed it to me. I've never worked in COBOL. But he's eventually moved out of that pretty much completely. Last career he had with the federal government was he was a network administrator for the Treasury Bureau. And, retired from that a year and a half ago. And it always gets me that my younger brother is retired.
My baby sister's retired.
Yeah.
Okay. I get it.
But he always jokes with me. He says, yeah, I didn't have 4 kids, so it's a little easier to retire. But just do something you like. That's more important. If you're going to go into IT, make sure you really like it. I foresee that it's going to be a wildly different environment in the future. I mean, we've seen a lot of changes, and and AI is going to change it even more, for better or worse. I'm not sure, but it is going to change it a lot. And even without AI, as we call it, coding has just become not really, people just they just click on things on a screen and poof, they don't, hang on, line 10, da 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 da,
All right.
So,
you're breaking my heart, dude. I love writing code. I love it.
I do too, but I'm okay with it.
Well,
yeah,
I could do the farming thing, so that's my sort of sideline.
Okay. Yeah, I grew up on a farm, by the way. We had up to 50 horses at one point, so I'm well versed in the farm life, and I don't miss it. Just saying. Of course, horses are a little different than goats, so
yeah, they don't climb all over you.
That's true.
You don't want them to climb all over you.
And when a goat kicks you, you don't end up on the other side of the stall either, but with broken bones.
Me, I'll fly air shows.
There you go. So,
all right,
hey guys, it's been great. So appreciate this time. I do want to end with, I'm very honored that I was asked to even be part of this. It's been an amazing journey, and I feel humble in a sense that I'm included in a group of folks that you've already interviewed before me, and I do thank you for inviting me into this rather elite group, I think, of folks.
Well, you earned it, and we're glad to have you.
All right.
And besides, Rick, I like having people around me who are smarter than me. It makes me look smart.
Well, I will take that as a compliment. I'm not sure about that, but I will take that.
I think this will go down as the longest Graybeards episode thus far.
Yeah, well, somewhere but having a good time, but I do need to refill my water.
Yep.
And at least
and he's got to acknowledge
that my wife's made it home.
Really be, right?
Oh no! I only take out the offensive things. Edit that out. I might leave this part in just so people go, "Oh my God, what happened?"
What were they talking about? Yeah, that's the best part. Yeah. Okay.
You're not going to go to jail for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'll be canceled.
Yeah. Well, they're.
Okay, I'll do some heavy editing.
There you go.
All
right, guys. Good night.
All right.
See you
Later.
next time.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.